Good noon. Happy Sunday. Welcome to our weekly spiritual spa, your Sunday spiritual indulgence. We're we're here to help you feel better if you're feeling bad, and to help you feel even better if you're feeling fine. Then we can serve as a spiritual urgent care if that's what you happen to need in any given moment. We're here to make your life better and to help you get a greater connection to the spirit within you, which is also the spirit around and about you. It's all that there is. Ernest Holmes, the author of The Science of Mind and the founder of religious science, used to open his television show with the words, "There is a power for good in the universe, and you can use it." So true. But, and, the greater truth is that you can't not use it. In fact, you're using it all the time. You're using it right now. Because, because it's done unto you as you believe. Not my thought, not even his thought. Those words go way back. The important part of Dr. Holmes' admonition is to remember to use that power for good. So, I'm going to ask you to go within for a moment and just think on what I'm about to say. Consider this idea and how it might apply to you. We are here to remember who we are. We are children of creation. We are here to remember that we are created in the image and likeness of God. Creation, the universe, the Almighty, whatever you choose to call the creative, motivating force of the universe. We are here to heal our misconceptions and to release whatever beliefs we may hold that no longer serve us. We are here to learn how to use our divine inheritance to make our lives and our world a better place. We are here to wake up, to be awake, to inspire, to uplift, and to heal and make whole ourselves and our world. If that resonates with you at all, then I invite you to repeat after me. Centered in spirit.
Centered in spirit.
I know that there is a creative, motivating power in the universe.
That there is a creative, motivating power in the universe.
It is the intelligence,
It is the intelligence,
the power, and the love behind all of creation.
behind all of creation.
And it is the life within me.
And it is the life within me.
I know it.
I know it.
I feel it.
I feel it.
I believe it.
I believe it.
And I accept it.
And I accept it.
And so it is.
It is.
So, here's something to think about while we're chatting. What would a bigger you look like in the world? Now, I'm not talking about getting taller or putting on more weight. I'm talking about being a bigger person. What would that look like in the world? What would you be doing that you're not doing now? And what would it take to get you there? Now, I'm going to check in with a few people over here before I get back to you. So think on those things. What would a bigger you look like in the world? Good morning, Dana. Glad you're here. Hi. That meme is so cute. I like that very much. Looks like you. Hello, Brenda. Glad that you are here. Happy that people are checking in. Good. If you're out there, let us know it. It's just ever so much more fun when I know who I'm talking to, although I'm perfectly willing to just keep talking, because that's what I do. You know, the number one public fear is the number one fear of public in general is supposed to be fear of speaking in public, and I just didn't get in that line, I guess, because I love what I do. So, check in with me. What's going on? And I want you to be thinking about what we can be praying for you. And just, as it comes up, you can put it in the chat box or do whatever you want to do to let me know what it is you'd like prayer for. Because I love to pray. And I love to pray for all of you. You are my peeps. And prayer makes a difference. It really does. So let's make that difference in your life, shall we? Shall we? I'd love to. I like your little guy too. He's very cute, Brenda. Coming up out of a rabbit hole. Be my guess. Anyway, how is everybody this morning, and what's going on in your lives, and what can we be praying for, and what would it take to create you being bigger in the world? What would you have to do or think or say to be bigger? To be bigger. To become the person of your dreams, the person that you imagine you might be, could be. Let me know. I'd like to. I think it's an interesting question. What would that look like? And what would it take, do you think, to get you there? Let me know. Jump on in and put something in that there chat box and let me know what you're thinking about being a bigger you. I just think that's kind of an exciting thought. What would you be doing that you're not doing now? What are you feeling pulled toward but just don't think you could do it yet? Yet. That's a big yet. Okay? So, having chatted away like that for a few minutes, let me talk about what I want to talk about this morning, because it's kind of a fun thing, I think, and I hope you do. So, I got a question for you. I got another question for you. See, if I keep throwing questions at you, you do a lot more of the work than I have to do, and I like that, because it gets us all going. Okay? So, pop quiz. Who are your heroes in this world? First question. Can you name the 5 wealthiest people in the world? I gave you a hint here. 2 of them went to space recently. But can you come up with some more? Now, there's no prizes for this, and I'm not going to grade your test, so don't worry if I seem to rush you through this. It's actually stuff I want you to think about. Okay? Second question. Name 5 people who have won the Nobel or the Pulitzer Prize. 5 people. Third question. Yeah, I know I'm rushing you. Can you name the last half-dozen Academy Award winners for Best Actor and Actress? Can you? We're all excited about it every year when it happens, and it's all over the headlines. So how did you do? Did you kind of freeze up? Little brain fog, perhaps? Like I said, there's no prize that for any of this, but I do have a point. And the point is this. With very few exceptions, none of us remember the people whose names dominate the news for any length of time. These people are the best of the best in what they do in the world. But headlines and headliners are replaced daily. Awards fade, trophies tarnish. In short, though they may be big in the moment passes pretty quickly. Andy Warhol probably said it best, or most memorably. In the future, he said, everyone will be world famous for 15 minutes. His statement led to the idea that celebrity, from scandals to memes, will almost always be fleeting. Okay, here's another quick quiz. No one will see your answers. Just think. First question. Name 3 friends who have stood with you during a difficult time. Yeah, you have to limit it to 3. No, you don't. Second question. Think of 3 teachers who have helped you build your sense of self-worth. Third question. Name 5 people who have opened your heart to greater understanding. So, who are the real heroes in your life? The people who make the biggest difference in our lives are usually not the ones with the most notoriety or the most limelight or even the most awards. They tend to be the ones who have touched our lives with their love, their care, sometimes simply with their presence. These are the people we remember. These are the people who are the real heroes of our lives. Sometimes we need one of these people, and sometimes we need to be one of these people. So, in order to be what we need to be at any given moment, the question then becomes, how can we become a hero? And the answer is, I believe, that we need to be bigger. And to be bigger takes commitment. And it takes practice. Spiritual practice, I think. In their book, Spiritual Literacy, Frederick and Marianne Broussard write about the path of practice. They tell us that it is not restrictive in the way that it is often described, as in the straight and narrow path, or the steep and difficult climb. The authors write instead of the path of practice as being a very broad boulevard. Sometimes they say it appears to be like a progressing line connecting 2 points. Other times it circles or spirals back on itself. And they say there are no obvious intersections of roads taken because every avenue is connected and overlapping. And although there are places along the path of practice where you can be still, usually it is packed with people and beings, animate and inanimate, visible and invisible. And I would add some saints and some sinners, some angels and some demons, all there for our greatest growth and our highest good. I'm going to tell this next little story in the first person, mostly because it tells better that way, and because it certainly could have been my story and maybe even yours. I had just come out of the drive-through car wash, and I parked at a little strip mall adjacent to the car wash to wipe off the excess water and make the car prettier. When suddenly, coming at me across the parking lot was what some people might consider a seriously homeless person. From the look of him, There was no car and no home and no clean clothes and very likely no money. Now, sometimes you feel generous, don't you? And sometimes you just don't want to be bothered. This was one of those times. My first thought was, I hope he doesn't ask for money. He didn't. He came and sat at the bus stop and just looked around. Funny, I thought, he doesn't look like he'd have enough money for the bus. After a little while, he looked toward me and spoke. Nice car. And I couldn't help but feel that there was an air of dignity about him. Thanks, I said. And the expected request for money still didn't come. Finally, a little voice within me said, ask him if he needs help. I was sure he'd say yes. Then came the voice again. Ask him if he needs help. Okay, I thought. Do you need any help? He answered in 3 simple words. Don't we all? Don't we all? You know, we often look for wisdom in great men and women of stature, and all too often we get disappointed. We expect it from those of higher learning and accomplishment, and all too often they're mute. From this being, I expected an outreached hand and a grimy one at that. And instead I was given a profound gift. Someone whose name I will never know because I was too surprised to ask, saved me that day. No matter how much someone may have or appear to have or not have, no matter how much someone may have accomplished, well, we all need help sometimes, don't we? Someone who appears to have it all may be crying themselves to sleep at night. And by your presence alone, you may be someone's lifeline. If we're willing to get past our judgments, to see beyond the appearances, if we are willing to look for the presence of Spirit in every being and to find it within ourselves, if we are willing to reach out and get involved, then our positive perspective, our understanding, or our unknowingly wise words, our peaceful presence may change their world. And I know it will transform ours. When we begin living beyond our little fears and judgments and become bigger than our past or our circumstances, then we become heroic. Probably won't happen overnight, though it might. And the new habits probably won't stick all by themselves. We have to stay committed to being bigger than we might feel inclined to be in some circumstances. And we have to keep practicing anyway. We have to keep remembering that what we say we know to be true is in fact true, and then act accordingly. You know, there's nothing stopping us really but our own fear and our own lack of faith, both in ourselves and what we believe is within us. Metaphysically, fear is often defined by an acronym: false expectations appearing real. Oh, yeah. But my friends, if we have God on our side, or more specifically or accurately perhaps, if God is the truth of our spiritual DNA, if we cannot be without it, and we cannot, if God is where we are all the time, under all circumstances, what have we to fear? Ever. In The Science of Mind, Ernest Holmes wrote, "If God be for us, who can be against us? If God is all there is, then the universe is one, and there is no power, no presence against the truth. One with truth is a totality. If our whole endeavor is to be and to do that which is constructive, then we are with God, and we may be sure that God is with us, and all is well with our soul. It is Spirit's good pleasure to give us the kingdom. Man alone," Holmes writes, "has robbed us of our birthright. And what I know with all my heart is that our birthright can be reclaimed." Jesus asked, "Know ye not that ye are gods?" Apparently, we don't always know, or we have forgotten, that we are created in the image and likeness of creation itself. And instead, we have substituted celluloid heroes for living heroic lives. We were meant to be bigger. Jesus said, "These things that I do, and greater things will you do." Have we yet? Might we yet? See, it's not about being sanctimonious or smarter or holier than thou art now. It is about reaching for your highest potential. And that means facing your doubts and fears and expressing the greatness of the Spirit within you. In an oft quoted passage from a Return to Love, Marianne Williamson writes, "Our deepest fear is not that we are inadequate. Our deepest fear is that we are powerful beyond measure. It is our light, not our darkness, that most frightens us." We ask ourselves, who am I to be brilliant, gorgeous, talented, fabulous? Actually, she asks, who are you not to be? You are a child of God. Your playing small doesn't serve the world. Fears of inadequacy are certainly present within all of us some of the time. And if you are heir to that fear or other fears, then I have but one question for you. And I ask with love. Have you remembered that in your life and in all life, all that there is God? Have you remembered that with God, all things are possible? And have you remembered that you are with God, that you go with God wherever you go, because you can go no other way? Jesus said, the Father and I are one. You and God are one. Have you remembered that God, Spirit, is the power behind all things, always ready to respond, always ready to provide what you need? Yes, we have our fears. We all do. But more importantly, we have Spirit. And one with Spirit is a majority. It is an unlimited power. It is an undeniable force. And it is always, always, always enough. Sylvia Boorstein wrote, spiritual practice is not about the transformation of me or of anyone else as individuals. The job is too big, and that purpose is too small. We practice to transform the world. If the job is too big, then we must be bigger. We must establish peace, establish security, establish awareness. But if we do that just for ourselves, then maybe that purpose is just too small. But establishing deeper spiritual understanding in any of our lives and hearts can be on behalf of all beings, everywhere. If I be lifted up, then I will lift others to me. We have too often put our lives and our dreams and our visions beyond our power. And in doing so, we have put them beyond our reach. So we look for our heroes in myths and celebrities and on football fields. And we overlook the obvious. Tolstoy wrote, "The hero of my tale, whom I love with all the power of my soul, whom I have tried to portray in all his beauty, is truth." And what is the truth? The truth is that you are a place where God is. You are Spirit itself, expressing as you, in you, through you, creating your world. You are capable of the miraculous. You are unlimited, except for your own belief in limitation. We have to relearn a reverence for the presence of Spirit within each one of us. We have to remember the truth that we have all needed to become the heroes of our own stories. Even when we are dealing with mundane and menial things, we must remember to think God, presence, here, now, first. We have to move past our not enoughness and face our fear of our own power, our own inherited divinity. We need to act on the greater truth. The more elevated, the more centered, the more heaven-bent and God-sent our thoughts and words can be, the more transformative will be our presence in the world. We are meant to be bigger. We have within our own minds the power and the unlimited potential and the promise of changing not just our own lives, not just rising above our own fears, but with understanding and the quiet power of prayer to transform our immediate circle of life and draw the circle bigger. With the awareness of spirit as our constant companion, as the very truth of our being, we will be bigger. And when we think spirit within me first, we will overcome our fears. We will relinquish our littleness. We will be lifted up. And we will be bigger. And being bigger and less afraid and definitely, infinitely more powerful, we will draw others to us. I have a belief that music gets a message through to our souls in ways that words alone sometimes cannot. In support of that belief, and because I love you and want you to have the faith and the courage to believe in and reach for the bigger you, I have asked our magical music person to play a very special Sugarland song. So hang around at the end of the service and be sure and click on the link. I think you'll be very glad you did. I trust you have listened to my words because you're still here. But whether you have or not, I invite you to take them in. And I invite you to practice every opportunity you get. To practice what you are intended by God to be. Bigger. Bigger than you have ever been. Happy Sunday, Laura. Glad you're here. So, talk to me. I'm going to ask my questions again. What would a bigger you look like in the world? What would you be doing that you're not doing now? And what would it take to get you there? Do you think? Come on, I've been working. It's your turn. What would a bigger you look like? Start there. What would you be doing or saying or being in the world that you aren't yet being, doing, or saying? And what would it take to get you there? You know, I said that the story of the man in the parking lot was not mine, though it certainly could have been. And we've all had those experiences where we know that the bigger thing to do would be to start a conversation with an individual and find out more about them, and sometimes we just don't want to be bothered. But what if we got past that? What if we spoke to more people? What if we opened our hearts and our minds to the idea that every individual who shows up in our life is God in costume, showing up to show us something, teach us something, all for the purpose of making us bigger, of opening our world and our mind and our spirit to being more. What if? Oh, indeed, Laura, brief encounters can last a lifetime. Many of them do, don't they? People who pop into our lives and say something or do something or are something that surprises us. And surprises get our attention, don't they? And we walk away better for it. That I know. Who, I wonder, taught us to be afraid of one another? Children aren't naturally afraid of people. But we learn to be afraid. What was the song? You've got to be carefully taught. And I don't think most of our teachers mean to teach us something that's not good for us. And yet much of that is what we learn. And then there is kind of, at least now, a world mindset that we should be afraid of one another. We should, well, right now, for health reasons, we should stay away from one another. When we're wearing masks, we all look like some sort of criminals, don't we? There. Do you trust me more with or without it? In the old westerns, only the bad guys wore masks. The good guys didn't. Well, the Lone Ranger wore a mask. They covered up his eyes. But most of the time, the masks were worn by bank robbers or highwaymen or... So now we all have them on. But for a good reason. But you know, we can still speak with our eyes. I've discovered that. For a while, I was concerned that we wouldn't, in not seeing one another's faces, we would become even more separated. And there's probably an element of that for some people. But your eyes can smile. They do. And your mannerisms. If you are bigger than just what you appear to be on the surface, your message will get through. Let's see, hold on. I have to read what Dana says. Good. Good, Brenda. So, what's holding you back from working more on the physical therapy now? What are you tied to that's holding you back? You know the gifts. You know what will come of it. I know you do. So, what's holding you back? So, Dana, I'm going to challenge you because that's the kind of mood I'm in today. You have done fabulous work with the children in foster care and with adoptions. There's no doubt about that. I have seen the proof, and I know what it has made of you as well. But what if you're feeling called to now is an even bigger you? What if? You've certainly done part of what you were here to do, no doubt about it, and you've done that very, very well. And a holding pattern, I believe, is often what we feel like we're in when we're in the in-between stage. We know it's probably not what we were doing before, very likely not. It's certainly not in the same form as what we were doing before. But you're still here. And what that tells me is God is not done with you yet. What if next is even bigger? And what if it just, take the just out, what if it looks like, for now, being there, to say the kind word, to hug, you're very good at that. But God's not done with you yet. That I'm sure of. There is more for you to do, and you just don't know what that form is yet. See, I find it interesting that you know what wonderful work you have done in foster care and with adoption. You know that. You own it, and I'm very proud of you for owning it. But you say it was a divine appointment and not what you had set out to accomplish. Just be open to surprises. If you're still here, there's more. You just don't know exactly what that's going to look like yet. And that's very frustrating when for a great deal of time you knew exactly what it looked like and you were doing it every day and doing it very well and making a huge difference in a lot of lives. But you're still here. There's more. I'm sure of that. Do I know what it looks like? Oh, I don't even know what my more looks like, so how can I know what your more looks like? But I can tell you there's more. I can tell you that God is not done with us yet. Life is not done with us yet. We just don't know exactly what the next step looks like. So what you do while you're waiting is grow and hug and say words of love and support. And my guess is the door will open you, we, all of us did not even know existed, and we will walk through magic doors. Yeah, see, Dana, my picture has always been I'd probably last 120 years. And while what I think I am now is certainly older than I ever expected, I'm nowhere near the 120. So give me an assignment. Open a door, let me see something. Here I am, God send me. Laura, you are one of the most doing people I know. You always have been. Deep breath. Because my feeling about you is that you are always doing, and a good deal of the time doing for others. And perhaps some of that inspiration is about doing for yourself so that you can create the space to be bigger. If you're busy filling your life with other people's lives, that in itself can be a calling. But if you're feeling a little frustrated by it, then maybe at least once a day you say yes to an inspiration and follow that thought. It's not about learning to say no sometimes. It's learning to say yes to the greater thought, the higher ideal. I love your thought, Brenda. Keep a close eye out for the door. But what I believe is this, that if you just keep moving forward, I want to accomplish this. My dream is that. It might be immediate and personal, it might be huge, and you may not even finish it in your lifetime, but if you get it started, what the heck, why not? And you don't always see it, do you? That was last week's talk. The magic door. You don't always see it, even as you were walking through. But I can tell you this, if you don't move forward, you never will walk through it. That's for all of us. And maybe part of that is your action, Laura, on your inspiration. It is your faith in yourself and the more, Dana. It is your moving forward, even though I know sometimes it's difficult, Brenda. But it's moving forward in faith, knowing that of magic doors there is this. We do not see them even as we are passing through. But that requires action. If we stand still, we go nowhere. If we move forward on what we believe, then one day we will discover that somewhere along the line, we walked through the door. You have to be moving forward. So we've only got a few minutes left, and I do want to pray because I love to pray, especially for you. So what can I be praying for to support you in being, doing, moving forward so that you can be bigger, so that your life can be bigger, so that you can do what you are here to do? And trust me, if you're still here, you're not done yet. And what you have yet to do may very likely be even bigger than what you have done before, no matter how grand that may have been. I fight with that same devil myself. You know, I loved what we had at Spirit Works. I really thought that someday I would just go, and furthermore, and then pass out right there at the pulpit and leave you. But I thought I'd be 120 years old when that happened. So I suppose falling over at the pulpit at 120 would not be considered a bad move. And I'm not there anymore. And there are parts of me that wonder still, what's next? But I'm still here. And I believe with all of my heart that those of us who are still here, and that would be anybody who can hear my voice, those of us that are still here still have work to do. God's not finished with us yet. Life is not finished. The creative motivating force of the universe is not yet done with you. So get moving. One foot in front of the other. Yes, ma'am, Laura. One foot in front of the other. That's how you move. Forward motion toward that which calls to you or calls from within you. That which pushes you, nudges you, pokes you, and says, go. Go. Yeah, I'm kind of glad I'm not done yet either. And a couple of times when I thought there were some pretty close calls. But, you know, here I am. So there's work to do. There is work to do. Okay, so I'm going to assume some prayer requests since you guys are so busy thinking you're not writing. I'll start praying. If there's something specific you would like prayer support for, please put it in the chat box. And I'll catch it. So I'm going to ask you to take a moment and take a breath. Yeah. Let go, let God. Close your eyes if that feels good for you. If not, just soft focus or look at something beautiful. And remember with me that God, Spirit, is in all, through all, as all. You can't look at anything or think anything or be anything without activating God. And the more that we see that, the more that we feel that, the more that we know that in life, the bigger we will be. The giant tree whose age alone makes it beautiful. The vast ocean, the immenseness of which reminds us, must remind us of creation. The precious blue sky. The person on the corner with the sign that says, "Help me." The child that smiles at you. The old person still in motion. The physical therapist, the inventor, the friend that reaches out. All God. All God. There is nothing else. Every one of us, every one of them, all one. All spirit expressing and all in our lives in any given moment to help us be bigger, to make wiser choices, to express the spirit within us at the highest level. And so I speak my word today for each of us. For those that we are aware that are here, and for those that sit quietly. For those who will hear these words in times to come. That we are, because we have been here today, we are bigger. We are called to do bigger things. And we respond together. Here I am, God. Send me. And so I know today that Brenda is stronger and wiser and more open and more awake and more alert and more excited about her life and more capable than ever of living it. I know for Dana clarity and understanding, both about her own life and about that of her son. I know that the liver specialist is wise. And has a plan and will take action on it for John, that he may be healed and whole and graceful and brought to an awareness of the Spirit within him. I know for Laura that she is called to respond to the Spirit within her at the highest level. and that she is at least as willing to say yes to that call as she is to say yes to others. And that the beauty within her is expressed at its highest level in a way in which the world can see it and respond to it. I know for Jennifer that her generous wishes for her family are fulfilled. That Sabrina and her husband have found the perfect home, and it is the perfect home. And that her granddaughter knows on her birthday that she has friends. And that brings her such joy. I know for Heidi the healing of all of her stomach issues, that what was needed to be known is now in fact known and will be acted upon, and that she is well and whole and happy and free to be all that she can be. I know for Kat the fruition of her projects, that those who need to be are open to and accepting of her ideas, and that only divine right action takes place. I know for this ministry, only divine right action. I know that it reaches out as it is intended to be and makes a difference. That it brings people to an awareness of the Spirit within them and the power that that implies and the good that it can do. And I know for those who have not yet spoken that which they most desire, that while they hold it in their hearts, already Spirit is working on it. And it is all good. It is all very good. For it is all God and Spirit inspired. And that can only lead to better lives and a better world. And so we are grateful for the good that is done here, for the good that continues from this place forward, for the inspiration and the activity of Spirit in us, as us, and through us in this world. For all of that, we give thanks. And we just let go. We stop worrying and we are willing to be fools for God and see what happens. And so we let it be. And so it is. We have a closing song. It's a great song. Click on it and go there and listen and let Sugarland inspire you with their gifts, their spirit. We each express God differently, and boy, did they do it really, really well. So I'm going to say goodbye. I love you. I'll see you Wednesday, 7 o'clock, same place. And again next Sunday, noon-ish. God bless you. Be bigger.